Hey guys, welcome back to the next episode of the HTTP Wrap. We are currently on episode number 3, and I'm going to try and do an episode of this every Friday, and also try and do like a programming Fridays kind of deal. You get the idea. So in this episode, we're going to continue on with making our HTTP Wrap. We have, in the last episode, I believe, we managed to get our client connecting to the database, and we can see that here, and this is what we're going to be doing today. So we're actually going to be making it so the website displays how many clients are connected, so you can see like this. And we're going to be adding in 2 commands. One says send a message and one opens a program. So I'm going to give you a quick demonstration of those those working, and also I've just noticed an issue there. We'll fix that. But what was I saying? Yeah, I'm just going to show you a quick demonstration of these actually working, and then we're going to crack straight on. So the send message, it's not pretty at all. I can easily make this look better, but I'm just kind of going through the motions, I guess. So we're going to send a message to my PC, which currently has the wrap running. That's not the right place to open. So this is currently debugging here. You can see I've added some code in here, and that's currently debugging. So we're just going to send a message saying we are live, and we're going to click send message. And in a couple of seconds, depending on where the timer is, that message box will pop up, and you can see it says we are live. And click OK, and then in the next 15 seconds after that, nothing will be displayed because it's completed that command. You can also open a program. So at the moment, I've only got calculator in here. So you type in calc. I can make this pretty, like I said. Open a program, and then that application will open when the timer goes to collect the commands. So that depends again on the timer, but eventually the calculator will open. Yeah, eventually. Waiting. There we go, and the calculator opens. So let's go ahead and get started. So what I've done is I've taken this version of my HTTP wrap back to episode 2, so this is where we left off. I've had tons of comments coming in on ways to improve it and stuff like that. I really appreciate it. Some of those will be implemented, some will not, just depending on if I ever get a chance to learn it or not. But you can download the episode 2's code in the description below, and you can also download episode 3 code at the end of this video, and I'll show you where that is. So you can see this is where we left off. So if I just go to Aries PHP MyAdmin and log in, we have in here clients, messages, and programs which we will add as well. So if you don't have messages, we'll be adding it, and if you don't have programs, we'll be adding it as well. And we also have clients. So if I delete this client, I just want to see where we are with that, and that's Spotify. So we'll go ahead and we'll open up our projects folder where our client is, and we're going to open that in Visual Studio. And I believe that this should work straight away. So if I just press debug here, and that user should come into here, and yes it does, so you can see that that is working. So what we'll do first is we'll make it so that the website can output this information for us to read. So that's easy enough to do. So we're going to make the client's page work first, and you can see, no, let's debug that, stop that because that'll be annoying. So we've got some errors here that we need to fix. These are easy fixes, and we're going to make a table here where we can see our connected clients, and then we'll add some commands. So we're going to go ahead, open up our HTML folder, and we're going to open up our, first of all, we'll open our index.php because we need to fix those 2 issues. So, I've got a lot of stuff open here, so we'll just go on here. We'll just close all of these. .save. Wow, that's annoying. And also close this as well, and we will reopen this. There we go, that's cleaner. So the first error we have is that you can't find footer.php. That's easy to do because we forgot to add the path. So if you stick this in front of it on all of these, and we'll just need to go down and put a dot like this. Save that out. See that those errors have gone, and we can log in here. So there we go. We also have another error here, which is undefined variable login. So what we'll do is on our header, that's here, we will fix that issue by login equals true, login equals false. Forgot to add that in, and then we refresh and that error has gone. Let go away, last pass. So those are 2 issues we need to fix. I believe there was one more issue as well, but I can't remember what it was. Oh, it was because here on the application, I believe, was this episode 1 or episode 2? I can't remember. String hardware hash equals get hardware hash. Okay, down here. Hardware hash return hardware hash equals get MAC address. I swear it was here. hash string equals hash string. Okay, yeah, it was that. So what I was doing here, this is why I ran into an issue where I couldn't fit the length of the hash into the table. That's because I didn't actually return the hash. This here isn't a hash, I don't think. So what we need to do is return hardware hash. It needs to be hash string. And we'll save that. And what we should have now, if I debug this, and I keep clicking the wrong thing. So if I debug this now, we should have something different. There we go. That's the proper hash. So what I was doing there was just when I did return hardware hash, all I was sending was the MAC address and the RAM serial numbers. All of this bit wasn't happening. So return hash string now will make it so that we get the proper hash. So that was the other thing we needed to fix, and I believe that was everything. So that's good. So what we're going to do is open up our clients.php, and we're going to start off by adding some PHP tags here. And at the top of here, we're going to open up a table, and we're going to have a border, and like this, and we'll end that table like this. And we're going to have some table headers, so this will be client ID, and we'll have, let's see, client ID and the host name, so host name, and the IP address, address, and what else have we got, OS, and also commands. Now what I want to do is actually encourage you guys to go nuts with this project. Like, I'm not showing you how to go from start to finish with this, because there is a lot of stuff that I'm just going to jump forward in terms of what I've done, because this episode is really going to set the basis of how you can build this to be your own version of my program, essentially. This will really set how everything works, and you should be able to take these ideas that you've learned in these 3 episodes and be able to make this 100% better in every way, because you should have enough information from those 3 videos I'm doing to advance it. So this is the headers here. We've got client ID, host name, address, OS, and commands. And then we want to go ahead and bring our PHP tags inside of the table, and we're going to do an SQL to select all from clients where online equals 1. And that is something we need to do as well, is set up the heartbeat. So we'll do that in probably another episode, just because I can't be asked in this one. This one's going to be pretty long. And we're going to do a query, so MySQL I equals query, and yeah, connect SQL. We don't need to include connect on this page just because it's included in our headers, and headers is already on this page. Cool, and we'll do if. We need to do an if statement to see how many rows there are, so if, and we'll just go rows equals MySQL I underscore num rows, rows, and there we go, and query, so how many rows there are. So if this rows is not equal to 0, go ahead and we'll do a while loop to output all this data onto a table. So we'll do rows equal to MySQL I underscore fetch associated of the query, and we're going to echo it out. So I'm going to use these table row, table something, can't remember what that one actually is, and ending that and ending that, and in these we're going to add rows client ID, and this is how you put PHP data into HTML. You need to use these dots. This means to append it. No, it doesn't. That's a lie. I think it does. Basically, it means continue, I guess. I don't know what the proper name is. Don't judge me. So TD and TD like this, and you're just going to do that for the entire length of this. So that needs to go here. Oh, wow, I fucked that up. There we go. And this is going to be the host name. There we go. And there we go, like this, and this, and this. You get the idea, hopefully. IP address. And finally, TD. And let's just move this mouse so you guys can see. TD. Opening this, put that in there, go like this, bang. And then we just need to do one more for commands. So the 2 commands we're doing today are send message and open program. Can I bring this along a bit more? Nope. So we're going to do a attributing thing here. I didn't learn like most people learned, unfortunately, so I just kind of make shit up as I go along. And in here it's going to be oh, we can't use those two. I believe it will work on these commands / send message.php, which doesn't exist yet, but it will do. And like that. And there is something we've missed out there as well, which we'll put in a second. And then end that. And also equals, and then commands and program.php. And again, this isn't complete yet, so we need to add something else as well. So open program, and there we go. So let's see if that worked. Uninterrupted error on line 12. Oh, don't forget to put your line terminator at the end of your while loop. There we go. And the other thing I want to do is just tag on a center tag here, just because I'm lazy. Shouldn't use center tags apparently, but I do because I do my own thing. So there you go, send message, open program, and what we need to add to this is make it so that on the end of each of these, so send message and program, it says what the client ID is. So the client ID is equal to rows client ID. And this is where my eyes start to hurt, but that should work. Yeah, client ID equals 3. And do the same thing on this side for the program. So that is going to be client ID equals, and nope, client ID, and a dot there, and there we go. So that's how you display where all your hosts are and stuff like that. So you can see send message, and down at the bottom there it says client ID equals 3, and open program, client ID equals 3 as well. So there you go. So we'll just add a little header at the top of this. So just here, h2 connected clients, and look how pretty that looks. Don't know why I'd want to translate the page. Okay, so that's how that works, and now we need to go ahead and create a page for sending. So I have my code here because I can't remember, because I have short-term memory loss, how I did it. And we'll just open this and put this on this screen. Oh my god, you guys can see that I use a cheat sheet. Apparently I don't know how to open this. Open a new window, there we go, and put that over there. So yes, I do use a cheat sheet just because I need to remember how I did everything, although it is my code. There's nothing wrong with that. There we go. Okay, let's see, where do we need to go from here? So essentially how this is going to work is every 15 seconds, this timer here, timer command, is going to go ahead and request commands from the website. By default, that command is going to be 0, so if there's no commands to be done, it's 0, and if there is something to be done, it will tell the program what to do. There's one thing we need to do up here, which is you can see client ID, client ID, client ID, where are you? Client ID. So this client ID, we need to make it a global variable. So what we're going to do is come up to public partial class, and we're going to declare a public string client ID, which is going to be equal to string.empty for now. And then we're going to replace this with this, and this with this. So now, the reason we do that is because this is, I believe it's called a method. Don't really know. I believe it is. I'd like to be honest with you guys because I'm not the best. That means that we can use the client ID variable outside of here, and we can pass that into our timer command function or method or whatever the hell you want to call it. So we're going to move that up to here. And we're actually going to just place that here, like that. That can just fuck off down there. And here we go. So now we can see that we can use client ID here. If I messed it up, client ID, we can use it there as well. That's fine. So like I said, every 15 seconds, this timer is going to tick, and it's going to request new commands from the website. And the way it's going to do that is using a page called commands.php, and this page is going to go ahead and do the query that's going to tell the program what to do. And yeah, so it's going to be made up of 2 if statements. Actually, that's a lie. It's going to be made up of 3 if statements, or however many you have. So we're going to start off simple. Wow. we're going to start off simple with just some opening and closing PHP tags, and then we're going to include, and we need to have the connect include because we're going to be using databases like that. I'm going to do a if statement, and what we're going to be checking is that is set. So if this is, wow, what the, I don't even know what that was supposed to be. So if client ID is set, we're going to get that variable, and we're going to set it to a variable called client ID. So that's going to be get like this and this and this and this. So I know that I still do this the wrong way. I mean, it works. Our web dev told me it is. It's fine, but it's not the proper way, but it works. And like I said, this isn't a production program. No one should be using this. It just gives you an idea. So client ID equals MySQL underscore real escape string. So because we're only doing this because client ID is going to be used directly in the database, and we don't want anyone to break it. And we're going to do an SQL command to select all from. Actually, no, we're not selecting all. We're just selecting the command from clients, and we're going to limit that to 1. Just in case. There's no reason why there should be any more than 1 coming down, but in case there is, that's going to stop it. And we're going to do a query, which is going to run that SQL statement there. So MySQL underscore query and connect and SQL, and the result is going to be equal to an array. Fetch array. Why can't I type when I'm recording? I get stage fright. Query, and we're going to echo out the result like that, and we're also going to die at the end, just because you'll see why. We don't want once it gets to here, we want the page to stop running. We don't want it to do anything else, and there is a reason for that, which you will see soon. So make sure that in your PHP MyAdmin on clients you have a column called command, and that needs to be default to 0, which I changed. In the code you downloaded it won't be. So to change it, go ahead, click on structure, click on change, go to default as defined 0. So that means that by default command is equal to 0. So if we just go ahead and do commands .php client ID equals shit. Don't forget to put connect in there. There we go. And you can see that echoes out 0. And I'm swearing a lot in this video. I hope I don't get demonetized. Fuck you, YouTube. Anyway, in before getting demonetized. So yeah, that's our first if statement, and with that, let's go to the Visual Studio C# application. So we're going to declare 2 new some web request variables. Someone in the description, in the comments, told me a different way of doing this, but honestly, I never tried it, so I'm going to do it this way. And we're going to be using this URL, which is the command URL, and we're going to be adding on the end of that client ID, and we're going to be doing our web response, which is going to be wres is equal to wrec get response, and we're going to be using a stream reader, and calling that si is going to be equal to a new stream reader, which is going to read the value from wres.getResponseStream, and we're going to call a new variable called web result, which is going to be sr.read to end like that. And we're going to be using, because we're going to have a lot of commands, we're not going to use if statements, we're going to use a case statement. So we're going to do a switch, and the reason we use a switch instead of a if statement for handling large amounts of conditions is because it's neater. There's probably another reason as well, but it is neater, you can't deny that. W result, and we're going to do our case. First case is going to be 0, and if it is 0, we're just going to break. We don't want to do anything with that. And we're also going to have a default, which is just going to be break. And yeah, so in here, essentially what's going to happen is that when we send a message to the system, to our client, this command box is going to equal whatever the command is going to be. So if we want to send a message, this will be equal to send message. And when we come to here, it's going to be equal to send message. And then this application is going to be like, the case is that it wants to send a message. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get what the message wants to be, which we'll do in a minute. But this is essentially how it's going to work, and you'll see in a minute. So this is the case of send message, and we're going to populate this in a minute, but we need to make another PHP page. Well, it's actually not another PHP page, it's going to be on the same page of commands. So go ahead, go into your commands page here, and you're going to come up here and do another if statement, which is going to be if is set. I've just deleted something. There we go. Get client ID, and we also want to check that needs to go here. Do a double and sign and is set. Underscore get and wow. There we go. Send message. So if client ID is set and send message is set, we're going to go ahead and get the client ID, which is going to, well, it's this code here. We don't need to do any of this to the send message because we're not doing anything with that. We're just saying that it's set. And we're going to do an SQL statement, which is going to be select message from messages where client ID equals client ID. And we're going to do a query equals MySQL. Oh my god, there we go. Query and connect SQL and rows, well, let's call it result equals MySQL I underscore fetch array, and wow, I blame this keyboard. If you have a K70 RGB, how the hell do you type on it? The keycaps are so small. There we go. So what this is going to do is that when the program sends back send message as a get, it's going to say, alright, get the client ID and then search for the message that corresponds to this client ID. And hopefully you'll see what I mean in a minute. Oh, we also need to add die. Now the reason we add a die is because you can see here that if is set client ID, if is set client ID. So it's going to run both of these. So it's going to run this, it's going to go through this, and then it's going to go through this, which is pointless. So we add die, so it's going to go through, we add die, so and it's going to go through here and die. It's not going to run this. So these two conditions do match, but because there's a die, it's only going to run one of them. Hopefully that makes sense. It makes sense to me. It should make sense to you. So you're going to make sure that you've got a messages table, and you can see here that it's made up of ID, client ID, and message. I don't really need to go through making that, and I believe you have it already. I can't remember. But ID is an auto-incrementing int. Client ID is a varchar of 11 characters for some reason. Or is it 255? No, it's 11. I don't know why. And the message is a variable character of 255 messages, length even. So, we'll come down here again. So, if the case is send message, we're going to go ahead and do a web request equals web request.create, and it's going to be this, but send message is going to be equal to 1, and client ID equals plus the client ID, like that. I've already declared that, so I don't need to do it again. And there we go. And we'll do wres equals wrequest.getResponse, and we'll use a stream reader again. So stream reader, I don't need to do that. sr equals new stream reader, and that's going to be wres.getResponseStream. Yep, and we're going to string message equals sr.read to end, like that, and not that, like that. And we'll do a message box dot show message. And we need to add some more stuff in here as well. So on here, after we have echoed out that message, we don't want to die just yet. We want to go ahead and empty that. So we're going to do, so first of all, we need to make sure that we set, that button is pointless. We're going to go ahead and set the command back to 0 once it's been sent. Once the message is being requested, it's going to go back to 0. So it doesn't repeatedly do it. So we're going to update clients set command equal to 0. So that is the normal value, where client ID equals client ID. And we're going to run that. Connect and SQL. And we're going to run another one, which is going to delete from messages where client ID equals client ID. So we want it to then empty out the messages so that it doesn't get confused, essentially. So there is probably other ways of doing this. This is the way I've decided to do it. If you don't like it, don't do it. Yeah. Constructive criticism is always welcome. Okay, so that should work, I believe. This video is already at 22 minutes, and I'm supposed to be covering 2 commands in this, so we should probably haul ass. But I might only be able to do 1, unfortunately. But You might be able to figure out the programs one by yourself. It's very, 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 very similar. So let's go ahead, and the command is send message. We're going to add. Why did I just hide that? We're going to go to messages here, and we're going to insert into it. So the ID is 1, and our client ID, I believe, is also 1. Our client ID is 3, and the message is going to be Jackk tutorials is awesome. And we're going to add that in. So let's go ahead and run this and see what result we get. So we're going to have to wait 15 seconds, so I'm going to tell you about my life. I'm not really, because that would be insanely boring. And by the time I've finished telling it, or even justifying why I'm not going to say it, the message will have already popped up. And 13, 14, 15. Jackk tutorials is awesome. And now at 30 seconds, we shouldn't get the other message box. So I'm going to just carry on talking again for 10 seconds until we get to 30 seconds, and we shouldn't actually get another result. If we do, then we have insanely fucked something up. 29, 30. Nothing. So that means it worked. If we refresh this page, you can see the message has gone, and the command is now 0, back to normal. So you can see how that works, hopefully. Really, really easy to do, and you can do the same thing for the programs as well. This video is 25 minutes long, so let's hurry the fuck up. So you can see there, send message. You can basically copy and paste that and do the same for program, but let's go ahead and go onto our clients. Nope, we don't want to go there. We want to go ahead into our HTML folder, not that one, but this one. And we're going to create a new folder, not a shortcut, a new folder called commands. And in here we're going to call it, is it called send message? I can't remember. But essentially we need to make a nice little UI for when we send the message, which is actually going to look really ugly. So send message.php is going to be what it's called. So send message.php. And we're going to open that up with our favorite editor. It's not being my favorite editor at the moment. I've opened Spotify, it's all going wrong, and this video should be deleted. There we go, we're going to open some PHP tags, and we're going to go ahead and include /connect.php. Now there's one thing we need to do here, because we're in a folder, we need to do some directory traversal, and come out of that folder and then go into the includes folder. Hopefully that makes sense. And we're going to do an if statement, and we're going to say if is set underscore get client ID. Something made a noise, but I don't know what it was. The Spotify applications always, oh, wonderful. Thank you for telling me that. Client ID equals underscore get client ID, and client ID equals strip slashes. There we go. I'm probably going to fast forward this bit. Client ID equals strip tags. There we go. And client ID equals my. Let's go. Yeah. No. Okay, and once we've got that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to make ourselves a little page here. So it's going to be input type equals. Actually, do that. Move the mouse. Input type equals text, name equals message. That's fine. And put that there like that, and terminate that line. Echo, we need to do another input, which is going to be our submit button. Submit. Name equals send. Value equals send message. We'll just add in a little bit of a line break here, so BRs. We also need to surround this with a form, I didn't forget. Form action equals send message.php, so it's going to come to the same place, and the method is going to be post. There we go, and in that. And also we need to add another field, which is going to be a hidden field for the client ID. Type equals hidden, name equals client ID. The value is going to be equal to the client ID like that, and that needs to be like that and that, and also end the form, and this is what that should look like. So send message unexpected on line 14, so that means that I forgot to end this line. There we go, so that's what that should look like. We need to do another if statement up here, which is going to be equal to if is set post, and it's going to be send, what's it called? The submit button is called send. Then we need to go ahead and get the client ID, which is now going to be a post. which comes from the hidden form here. We're also going to need to get the message, which I'm just going to copy and paste from here. So the message is going to be, I spelled that wrong. Message. There we go. Message. There we go. And let's speed up here. So paste that all in there like this. And then we need to do an SQL statement, which is going to insert into messages, and we need to specify the values here, which is going to be client ID and message values. Client ID and the message. Query is going to be a query like this and connect with the SQL. We need to do another SQL statement, which is going to update clients set command equal to send message, so that knows that the application has a message to read. And we need to do that where client ID equals client, like that. And we'll do in the query, so MySQL and MySQL connect SQL. And then finally we need to do header and redirect the user back to the client's page. And there we go. Let's see if that actually works. I believe it should. Let's just run through what's going to happen. So when you first come to the page, all you've done is sent the client ID, which is here. So what's that going to do is get the client ID, display it in a hidden form. So I'll show you that. If I press F12, go along to here, expand that, you can see that the hidden value is equal to 3. So you'll be able to type your name into the message box, press submit, and then you're going to come up here, which is where it's going to get the client ID from the same hidden form, because it doesn't know what the client ID is going to be, but we're going to send it in a post. So it's going to get the client ID, it's going to get the message, it's going to strip it all, it's going to put it into the messages table with the client ID and the message, and it's also going to update the clients to the command send message where the client ID equals client, and then redirect you back. So if I just type in here, hello world, and we'll send message, and bit of direct traversal issues. Let me think. That should be right. Yeah, it was right. It's just that you can't. There we go. So anyway, so there was an issue with sending that. That should have been updated. Let's have a look. So where client ID equals client, command send message. Yep, that's right. And this also looks fairly right. Let's make it echo out the errors. Nope. Hello world again. Hello world. Is that still? Yep. Cool. Undefined variable client on line 17. It needs to be client ID. Call to undefined function on 19. Oh, I got that wrong completely. Anyway, okay. Refresh. Okay, do we have the message in here? Yes, we do. We do have it in there. Let's just empty this database out because it's full of shite. Client ID is free. Okay, cool. So there's still a problem with updating the clients. Update clients. Set command. I feel like that's not right. What did I put? Update clients. Set command. Oh, that's the wrong page anyway. Let's just echo out the errors properly. MySQL I_error. It'll just tell us what's wrong then. If I got rid of the direct, I could actually read the error. Apparently there is no error. Oh, it worked. Okay, whatever. Looks like the PHP error stopped the other command from going through. Sweet. So now you can see that clients is set to send message, and the only message in there is hello world for the client ID of 3. So we'll just go ahead and delete these like that, and we will just pretend that that did direct us to index clients like that, and we'll go ahead and run our application, and in 15 seconds we should get the send message. So we'll just wait. Unfortunately, I'm not going to have time to show you the programs today, but you should be able to do it yourself. using it. If you know C# and PHP, you should be able to do it yourself. But yeah, you can see that the message pops up saying hello world, and if we go back into our database here, you can see that that message has gone, and clients is now set to, the command is now set to 0. So yeah, that's the third part of this HTTP rat. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the series. Leave any suggestions for things you'd like to see in the comments below. Go ahead and like that video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And also share this video with anyone who will also enjoy it. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, that is at Jackk1337. Like me on Facebook, that is Jackk Tutorials. And until next time guys, I shall see you again in the next one.